there are 20 LGAs in Lagos. Right along with me. Look at the disparity. But what I'm saying in essence is, I would have expected that house to say, okay, let's toe the line of Kano State. For 9 million and 44 LGAs, it's tantamount to be about 200,000 plus people making up an LG. If we make that into the basis of an LG, translate it all over Nigeria, then we have a parity check that is even. That is one. Two, about the devolution of powers. Unfortunately, when I look at the faces of the people out there, they were the same people who benefited from the largesse of the center, and then the same people we are calling to come and deliberate about this. For God's sake, somebody somewhere is going to pick up the phone and say, my friend, make sure you don't do that because you enjoyed it too. So let us do same. It's a natural phenomenon. You see, cases like that were not looked into. And when it came to the derivation, they went up, down, center, and it was just a storm in a teacup. I was of opinion that people out there, because I said something when they started out, I took a swipe at people like Femi Falana because I know him. I took a swipe at Bakare because we share the same name. And I took a swipe at a few others because I said it that when you guys were outside of the box, you were doing a lot of talking. Now you are in the box. How much of talking are you doing? How much of effect are we getting?
What do you expect of them? Because I think it would seem that they spoke the way they should have. And
the thing is.
And don't forget that everything is subjected to a vote today.
Everything is subjected to a vote. But there is a way you lay across with a lot of tact, a lot of sense, a lot of reasoning, a lot of thinking that makes people believe in what you are saying. What I'm saying is this. When we're now talking about devolution of powers, most of the people there do not want Nigeria to change, do not want a reversal. My kind of person will want a reversal. They let the FG take about 20 or 30% and then spread the rest where governance is happening. So that one negates the fact that everybody now is ready to kill because he wants to go to Abuja. He wants to become an overnight millionaire. But if you reduce that, they never did. They never did. And the clamoring that people are clamoring for from our brothers in the Niger Delta, I looked at a solution of simple arithmetic and I feel it hurts my person. It hurts my thinking that why are we like this? Listen, I'll tell you one thing before you go ahead. We're given 13%. They're clamoring for maybe 50. Maybe we can bring it down to a very reasonable figure. But my arithmetic says one thing. Why help the people to spend their money with a different overhead? Listen, NDDC takes home 360 billion a year. There is a ministry of the Niger Delta with a humongous budget. These are monies that are going to be spent on those states. Are you telling me the state governors cannot manage those funds? If you had that 360 plus the fund of the Ministry of Niger Delta to their 13%, honestly, we're getting close to 20%. We are wasting the people's money. Give the money back to them, and then we will somewhere above 20.
Mr. Ferry, how do you respond?
I hope you will give me time to respond.
I was about to say, how will you respond?
I hope you will give me time to respond to it, because he has spent a lot
of
time to raise certain fundamental issues, which he has accused the conference of not addressing.
Go ahead.
Please give me equal time.
You have it.
To respond to those.
You have it.
Specifically, he raised the issue of local government. He said we have weakened local governments. He raised the issue of devolution of powers. He raised the issue of state creation and then revenue sharing. I will address myself. In fact, the conference, these are some of the achievements of the conference. The conference addressed itself extensively to these issues. Contrary to what he has said, we have strengthened local governments and made them really local. We have strengthened local governments in the sense that, first of all, no governor, from what we have decided now, can just dissolve a local government or appoint caretaker committee to go and run a local government. We have made that impossible. Local governments must be elected, must be run by elected people. Any local government that is not run, whose members or chairman is not elected, will not be entitled to any fund allocation. They'll be starved of funds. These are some of the ways we have strengthened local governments. Now, it made reference to the incongruities in the kind of having so many local governments, Lagos having so many, in spite of almost equal population. We have addressed that issue.
How did you address it?
We addressed that issue by saying that somebody cannot just sit in Abuja and be creating local government for Kano, for Lagos, for each of the states. It doesn't make sense. It's only the local people, the governor, who is in charge of the states and who is in touch with his people, that can tell where the people want local government, where they need local governments, where local governments will be useful.
And this is part of the resolution?
So what we have done is to, yes,
okay.
We have removed local government creation from the province of the federal government. Federal government now cannot create local governments. Local governments can be created only by state governments. And we have, in fact, we have delisted local governments from the Constitution. So the Constitution can no longer say they cannot have so many local governments and begin to list them. All that will be removed. So it is states that have powers to create local governments. And the states can create, depending on their area, they can create as many local governments as they think are relevant, or as few as they think are relevant. Not only that, we have devolved funds. The funds that the federal government used to have, we have reduced it substantially. Now the federal government, we have given the federal government only 48% in terms of revenue sharing, about 47.5%. And the remaining 52.5% goes to the states. I say it goes to the states because the revenue sharing now, by what we have decided, is purely between the federal government and the federating units. When you talk of a federation, it is the states that make up the federation. Yes, and so the federating units and the federal government are the ones sharing funds. So the federal government takes 42%, the states take 58%. It is now the duty of each state to see how many local governments it needs, how many local governments it wants to create, and it will have to be ready to fund those local governments from the revenue that goes to the states. And to ensure that the states do not sit on the revenue, we have also made provision for a state revenue mobilization and fiscal commission, the kind that we have in Abuja, that shares money between the federal government and the states, and as of today, also local governments. So now we create a similar commission at the state level, a state revenue allocation and fiscal commission, so that when the money of the state comes, this commission sits down to see how the money will be divided between the state government and the local governments. So the local governments are guaranteed to have their funds. In fact, Section 7 of the Constitution is reinforced that the existence of local governments is guaranteed under the Constitution.
So it stays.
It stays. Existence of local governments is guaranteed. But what we have reinforced them, we have made them really local. That somebody does not sit in Abuja and create local governments around the country.
Have you been reading the same resolutions that Mr. Femi has just talked about?
No, I want to address one issue.
Okay.
That's local government.
One issue.
That's local government.
Okay.
See, of course, I have indirectly addressed the devolution because I've said revenue. We have drastically reviewed the revenue of the federal government. It used to be around 58%. We've cut it down to 42%. That's a drastic reduction. So a lot of the money now goes to the states to be shared between states and local governments. Now, another thing which is important is that this issue of
Niger Delta, the Himo.
No, creation of creation of states. You see, when you talk of creation of states, that is why I say you don't look at issues from your own perspective alone. You look at it from the perspective, you cover all the various perspectives around the country. There are ethnic minorities. When people were agitating for a conference of ethnic nationalities, it was the ethnic minorities who felt marginalized, who felt oppressed, who felt like second-class citizens in Nigeria, who felt that they were not being equally treated, that were agitating for this conference of ethnic nationalities. Even though we could not have a conference of ethnic nationalities, we made adequate provision to cater for their interests.
And so you felt that creation of states will take care of their interests?
In fact, if there is anything that makes all the ethnic nationalities happy, it is this creation of states. In fact, that is one thing they say they got from this conference.
Are you